Open almost any fridge today, and you will find a bottle of it. Red, thick, and sweet, squeezed onto French fries and hamburgers without a second thought. But 200 years ago, people didn't squeeze this onto their food. They swallowed it. In the 1830s, this substance was formulated, packaged, and prescribed as a medicinal pill. Doctors sold it as a cure for ailments like diarrhea, indigestion, and jaundice. Patients trusted it, took it daily, and ultimately were scammed by it. Welcome back to the subject history. We dig into the forgotten, the weird, and the hidden histories behind the everyday objects on your kitchen table. Because that red bottle sitting next to your salt shaker hides a history rooted in medical fraud and surprising bloodshed. To find the start of that history, we have to look to Southeast Asia. Hundreds of years ago, the word ketchup described a fermented fish sauce, not a tomato product. The original process involved packing anchovies with salt and leaving them to ferment over long periods to achieve a deep, savory flavor. During the 1600s and 1700s, British sailors and traders operating in the region tasted this sauce and attempted to bring that flavor profile back home. But once back in Europe, cooks struggled to replicate the fermentation process. They experimented with whatever was available: mushrooms, walnuts, oysters, and assorted fruits. For the next 2 centuries, ketchup was an unregulated category of dozens of different household sauces. Not one of them contained a tomato. Because there was no standardized recipe, the product became a blank canvas. That lack of definition created the environment for its next evolution in America. Before tomatoes could be added to that canvas, they had a reputation problem. Europeans widely believed the fruit was poisonous, largely because it belongs to the nightshade family. The tomato didn't join the ketchup timeline until the early 1800s in the United States. And when it finally did, its status changed overnight. The shift happened in 1834, when a physician named John Cook Bennett declared that the previously feared tomato was actually a medicine, capable of curing indigestion, jaundice, and rheumatism. Medical circles of the era were hungry for new remedies, and Bennett's claims were quickly amplified across a network of local newspapers. But using the authority of a physician to rebrand a feared fruit into a miracle cure, the market was primed for mass commercial exploitation. A businessman named Archibald Miles capitalized on the demand by mass-producing a product he called Dr. Miles' Compound Extract of Tomato. This was the era of the patent medicine, an unregulated market where dangerous concoctions and instantaneous cures were sold openly. Miles's tomato pills were packaged and consumed as medicine in this same landscape. There was one flaw in the business. The pills possessed no medicinal value. Despite that, initial demand was high. Competitors rushed in with cheap copycats and watered-down formulas to cash in on the craze. The volume of fake formulas eventually caught up with the industry. By the 1850s, consumer trust eroded, and the market for tomato pills collapsed. The backlash was severe. Newspapers mocked the industry, and legitimate doctors distanced themselves from the claims. Ketchup's first major commercial career in America ended in public disgrace. So how did a disgraced medical scam transition into a globally dominant food product? Logistics were the problem. Early ketchup recipes spoiled fast. To survive shipping or store shelves, manufacturers had to stop the rot. This chart illustrates the common solution of the time. Manufacturers relied on chemical preservatives, using coal tar dyes to fake a red color and borax to halt decay. These practices coincided with a rising national fear of contaminated food. Public demand for safety oversight was growing, led by muckraking reports of factory conditions. Amidst this crisis of trust, an entrepreneur named Henry Heinz realized that safety and purity could be a competitive advantage. Heinz altered the formula. He removed the hazardous chemicals entirely, relying instead on higher volumes of vinegar and sugar to naturally preserve the sauce while improving the flavor. But the recipe was only half of the solution. Heinz made one deceptively simple packaging decision. He bottled his ketchup in clear glass. It was a psychological strategy. In an era where consumers were terrified of what they were eating, the transparent bottle was physical proof of purity. By letting customers see exactly what they were buying, transparency became the ultimate signal of trust. The pivot worked. By the 1910s, ketchup was no longer associated with medical fraud or chemical rot. It had become a symbol of clean, modern, and trustworthy food manufacturing. With consumer confidence restored, the product began a global expansion, securing a permanent place on grocery shelves across the world. The journey of this substance follows a strange arc, from an Asian fish sauce to a fraudulent medicinal pill, through a national scandal, and finally into a trusted condiment. That modern bottle exists in your fridge today because one manufacturer realized that in an era of public distrust, radical honesty was a more powerful tool than any chemical preservative. Simple things containing wild histories. That is the point of this channel. If you want us to investigate another everyday object, let us know in the comments below. See you in the next one.